So the next step was to install the firewall foam insulation. That took quite a bit longer than I was hoping it would take. It's just have to find all the right holes, cut all the cutouts for these the ammeter shunt and all the engine mounts, the battery box, things like that. That's where the nose wheel steering push rods come through. This is the oil canister bracket. So having all that cutouts made, stuck that on, and then mounted the engine mount or bracket, big beefy bracket, 4 bolts, another 2 bolts up here, because this is the non-parachute version. There's no tanks at the back where you connect the parachute cables. So that went relatively easily, all of that. Just took a bit of time. I put in there's a few M5 and M4 riv nuts on the firewall, so in the same step, and also did all the insulation, the foam insulation for the front and back. My kit actually had 2 sets of foam insulation for the firewall, so I used that for the front section, which should be better. It's much more thicker, and also have this foil top layer, which should be helpful in keeping the heat in. Now I need to put the internal skins up here before I can attach the vents that go on there. That's the next step. Right, so the next thing to install was the heater. So that went on fine. 4 brackets all sides and M5 bolts. My kit, even though it said M5, it was M4 bolts in the packet, so I need to get some new ones, so put something in there temporarily. That fitted all fine. The hoses come through the grommet. There's some sort of valve there, I think that is. Installing that was quite straightforward. But unfortunately my heater didn't come with the bottom plate. So there should be a plate at the bottom with 4 pipes coming out of it to stick the aluminium ducting to it. So that's on back order, so I need to wait for that before I can put all that together. So I started on these, installing these, the rest of the ducting. This side it went on quite well. Essentially the valve thing, which changes between inside air and outside air, that's quite a chunky bit of kit, and it's only held by this internal skin. So I've added another little bit of plate behind it just to give it a bit more stiffness. Otherwise this thing tends to wobble quite a bit. The 80mm ducting is quite big, quite a large diameter to crimp against that knucker ducts. So I'll have to try and get some hose clamps like the one on the left there, put one on the right, and kind of use the clamping force to kind of bring it down. And today I did something interesting. It was my first actual mod. I put together the throttle quadrant. I think this is roughly where it would finally go. Need to check exactly where it would be, but one change I did was that I countersunk all the screws are countersunk on top, so I had to dimple using the larger dimple die and shave a little bit off the bottom using the countersink drill bits to get to it, so that these 90-degree screws sit flush. I think if you can find 100-degree screws, they'll be better, but I think it's pretty flush, and everything's usable. There's no actual structural damage. It will still hold really well, even in the parking brake activation switch as well. It's all fine. So pretty happy with that. Planning to put a vinyl wrap on the cover plate before I put the screws in. So either kind of a carbon fiber look-alike vinyl or matte black, because the panel will be all matte black, so I think that would look better. but just to mix it up, maybe a carbon fiber wrap might be okay as well. Alright, so the next thing was to try and test fit the center console skins and the rear center console box itself. I also put together the throttle cord quadrille that I put together, installed that. I just brought in the dash panel and it's not held in the right place. Possibly that way it is, but I think height wise it needs to come down slightly bit too wide. It needs to be, try and get that in there. Obviously once all the packaging is off it should come down better, but I think roughly it fits somewhere over there where I've got this bit attaching the fuel selector valve will be here, and the trim attaches to the back fit. I think this needs to go further in, but yeah, the center console itself is not that bad. All the skins align, it's all mostly screws and riv nuts, so nothing's in place, everything can be taken off when needed. So my plan is to rivet the rear box to the side channel, both the center sides, the center channels or the seat channels or the seat rails, because then that whole thing can be lifted up as one assembly. I think Evan Bernier also mentioned that, and I think that's a really good idea actually, because the rest of it is all riv nuts and screws, so they come off separately. So I'll be doing the same at the back. I think I need to find grommets for these holes. Couldn't find any in the kit, but the test fit looks good. So now I can run the fuel line. So the main reason I put this together was to see how the fuel lines will be routed and where the gaps are. Yeah, so this is what I meant, the assembly to put together. So the rear console box, the seat rails, and these two ribs that are at the front with the 5 riv nuts each. So you can put all this together in one go as one assembly, and then you can pull it in and out of position. Obviously I'm not going to rivet this until the very end. There are 2 connections there, 3.2 rivets that go over there. It's either side of that. So that's the final position roughly of it, and so it's easy to work with. So the side skins can be attached and taken off with the M4 screws. Alright everyone, so it's January the 1st 2021. Happy New Year to everyone, and the build continues. Hopefully this will be the year that she'll take her maiden flight. So after trying all the inside skins and pretty much keeping that all aside, obviously I can't continue much without having the avionics harness, but I'll try and probably do the fuel lines and things like that before the avionics harness gets here. So I've got another month before I'll see the harness, so there's plenty of time to finish up all the little bits and bobs before that. And regarding the engine, obviously I'm not mounting the engine here at home. That'll only be done once the aircraft is moved to the airfield. Same with the landing gear. So those are the two, the undercarriage kit and the firewall forward kit. Most of it will only be done at the airfield. So moving on to the canopy, so that's something I wanted to try and test fit, get it ready, all the doors, door mechanisms and things like that, and then take it out before riveting to send it to paint, so that I can get all the insides of the canopy painted nicely, along probably with the seats as well. I'll try and get the seats painted at the same time. I'll get that done. But straight away ran into a problem with the canopy, is this issue here at the top of the rear fuselage. The long run at the top, that comes all the way to the edge of the skin almost, and I was expecting there'll be some cutout here on the canopy for normally for the parachute version and things like that. So mine is a non-parachute version and apparently there's nothing there, so either I have to trim back the long run or probably have to leave a section out from the canopy itself. I'm leaning towards more trimming the long run back, probably straightforward, take out the rivet and chop that back up to there, but I will email technical to see what they recommend doing here before I proceed. But yeah, as you can see, there's nothing there. But yeah, so that's the next step, working on this canopy and the doors, door mechanisms, all these channels, pull the wiring through. I've put some grommets here so I can bring up the wires required. I think there are 4 wires required for the 2 lights, cabin lights and the 2 front lights. I don't need to use that rheostat position, so I can blend that in while painting, because my switches for that and the rheostat for that will be on the panel, or the dimmer switch for the cabin lights will be on the panel. Okay, so that's it for this time. Until next time, see you. Take care everyone. Bye.